Hello, and welcome to the April market update from Commonwealth Financial Network. My name is Brad McMillan. I'm Commonwealth's Chief Investment Officer. March was a tough month. U.S. markets were down between 2 and 4%. International markets were down about 2%. And worse than that, was actually the second down month in a row. This is something we haven't seen in quite a while, and as I said last month, this is something that is unusual, particularly given how calm 2017 is. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, why did this happen for the second month in a row? And is it likely to keep going this way in the future? Well, the reason it happened is quite simple. Uncertainty. We had a number of things that made markets a little bit less certain about the future than they have been. First and foremost among them was the White House announced a second round of trade tariffs, this time on China. Now, China is a major participant in the world trading system. U.S. companies source and sell a lot of stuff there, and this actually rattled a lot of companies around the world. So that was one significant area of uncertainty that really affected markets, not just here, but abroad. It wasn't just about trade, though. We have a new chairman of the Federal Reserve, Chair Powell, and he had his first official meeting this month. The Fed actually decided to raise rates, which was expected, but in the press conference and in the statement, Chair Powell actually came forward a little bit more hawkish than had been expected. In other words, a little bit more inclined to raise rates faster than the market had thought. Now, in one respect, this is a good thing because the reason he wanted to do that was because the Fed actually sees the economy continuing to grow. But because there's now less certainty around what interest rates are going to do, markets were a bit rattled by that. When you look at the fundamentals, though, even though there's some uncertainty around policy, the fundamentals continue to be positive. Last month, we had a knockout jobs report. Jobs growth continues to be very strong. Both business and consumer confidence is at levels we haven't seen in over a decade. When we look at consumer spending, when we look at business investment, actually the numbers are pretty good. So when you look at the fundamentals of the economy as a whole, actually things remain good. So the baseline, the foundation of the markets is solid. There's just a little bit of a question about where we're going in the future. And that's actually something we need to look at because there are some suggestions that things are starting to slow a bit. The housing market, for example, has pulled back a little bit. There are some concerns about foreign economies. In other words, even though the fundamentals are solid, there's a sense that we may be slowing. But that's not the same as pulling back, and there are no real signs of that. On the corporate side, we also see strong fundamentals. We've seen earnings growth revised up to levels we haven't seen, again, in a decade, and this is something that's very important. A lot of this is due to the effects of the Tax Reform Act, but nonetheless, it's real. And this is something that should also help to support the market. So what will this mean going forward? We can actually probably expect some more turbulence. We might even see more of a pullback because the uncertainty out there is real and we don't know how it's going to play out. At the same time, with the fundamentals continuing to perform pretty strongly, there should be some cushion there as well. In any event, it's very likely that 2018 will be a lot more turbulent than 2017 was, and in some respects, that's a good thing, because turbulence is reflective of a more normal economy, and that's where we're getting to be. With that, I'll talk to you next month, and thanks for watching.